Welcome to TLC, the last pay-per-view of the year. Now I know a few YouTubers are going to say that this was one of the best shows. Some are going to say it's total shit. Now I'm not going to go with the ones who said this show was the best show. I'm going to be honest here. When you look at this show during the middle of the show and the ending of the show, you would think, if you're being very objective, the WWE did not really give what their fans really wanted. But then you would say they gave them what they wanted, but then they fucked them in the ass at the end. When you see John Cena in the middle of the show, you knew something screwy was going to happen, and it did. And when you look at the end of the show, you think, well, this is going to be a good ending of the show. And they give you a screwy ending, which is total bullshit. Which just shows you the WWE does not really listen to their fans. They really have lost severe touch with their fans. And they think right now they're doing good television. You're not getting it. That's just my perspective. Now let's get to the beginning of the show. You got New Day with Kofi and Biggie Langston versus the Dust Brothers. Now, the WWE has given New Day the most shittiest gimmick. I mean, let's be honest here. Kofi, Biggie, and Xavier had a good thing months ago. If they just let them run with it, they could have beaten easily what was going on with Lashley, well, I'm about to say R-Truth. Lashley, you got Kenny King, and you got MVP. They could have done something very special with them. But you got those guys doing it way better, and then you got a world champion on your hands in TNA, even though they haven't been doing very good work. I loved seeing Lashley win the championship. But you know what? Even if you didn't get that in WWE, it would have been something so monstrous, it could have compensated for that. But we got this. Mind you, the crowd is still cheering for them. Does this mean they could still get over? Yes, as basically a screw job to the WWE, saying, you know what? You really are giving us a bullshit type of gimmick. We're going to turn it on you and fuck you up your ass. I'm sorry for cursing so much, but this is what I got from this show. A butt fuck. I could leave this as my title, but I'm not going to. You see what the title is. But when you see the match, it was an alright match and New Day wins. But unless they turn heel, I really don't care. But still they can get over because the crowd is going to turn this on the WWE when they think they got something great. They don't, but still the crowd is letting them become great because they know it's crap. The first match of the night that I knew was going to happen, the IC Championship is always the one they pull out first. I would love to see the IC Championship be the marquee match once. I know that's not going to happen. That's what I want. When you see the Luke Harper and the Dolph Ziggler match, you would say, damn, this is a great match. And it was a good match. To me, it wasn't great, but it was good. The problem here for me is that there's no build-up for it. And like I said in my previous video, here's Luke Harper. Here's Dolph Ziggler. This is what happened when you match them both up. Dolph should not be dealing with the IC Championship. He shouldn't be. He should be pushed into the main event because we need extra people there. I'm not saying that he would get the championship title, but he should be there because you need to have a new dynamic in the championship title scene. That's if you had the championship title at all. And that's the reason why Dolph went back to the IC Championship. There is no Brock Lesnar. So even though people want to see Dolph in the championship title scene, there's no championship for him to go to, and that's the reason why he had to go back into the IC title and go from here to here, because there was nothing for him to do. Mind you, it was a good match. And the way Luke Harper was, he might have almost badly injured his right arm because he got his arm caught in that ladder, the way he jumped out of the ring. That was not good. Hopefully he did not really hurt himself severely. But he could have. In the end, Dolph gets the IC Championship and goes right back to square one due to the fact we have no WWE World Heavyweight Champion. That's the gist of it. So it was a good match, but it had nothing there, and the person who lost the most is Dolph. That's the match of the night for me personally that I love the most over everything. And if anybody else didn't like this, I understand it, but for me, I loved it. The Usos versus the Star and the stunt double in Damien Sandow, who made the match. Two things I loved about this match. One, Ms. Dower made me laugh beyond reason. He has been practicing how to copy The Miz and throw his own stuff into it, and doing all those movements and stunts during the show. You can see the Usos didn't bother him because they knew there was no reason to. He was getting so over, they didn't need to attack him. They didn't need to do anything at all to him. He's the main thing that made the match so good. In the end, The Miz retains the title because of a DQ due to the fact that The Miz hit Jimmy Uso in the head with the slammy, which is another thing. Seeing The Miz still having a problem with Jimmy Uso gives me something we don't see. And I said this already. A triangle, a black woman, a black diva, which we don't see get any type of spotting. Barely ever in the last 5 or 6 years. You barely seen it. Her husband dealing with another guy because this guy is possibly legitimately helping this woman, which is Naomi. And seeing Jimmy get beyond fucking angry that his woman is being bothered because he is trying to become the champion and The Miz is trying to simply screw him, that's what he feels, gives us a dynamic we don't normally see. I love this 100%. Yeah, people are going to say, dude, this is bullshit. Naomi's not going to get the chance to become the Divas champion. Maybe not, but maybe she might. By having this push, Naomi could finally get the spot she deserves. Yes, she's going to have to deal with The Miz and deal with Jimmy, her husband. But I'm glad to see her get spotlighted. She never gets spotlighted. She's not a love interest. She's being used. And it actually, if they sponsor this and do it right, they can actually make The Miz look like the good guy here and Jimmy look like the bad guy. And even though Jimmy's a face, you'll see a jealous face that we don't see. I want to see this happen. Now, the match I felt really wasn't needed to happen the way it did. Big Show versus Eric Rowan. Now, I believe that was the second match of the night for me personally. Because when you look at the Usos versus The Miz, that's the best match of the night for me. Anyone else, you can tell me what you feel below. But the Usos and The Miz and Mizdow was the best match of the night for me. Seeing the Big Show and Eric Rowan was the second best match of the night. And I know you're going to say, dude, it wasn't. It actually was to this perspective. You got a new type of match thrown in, even though it's a bullshit match, which is a stair match. And even though it wasn't that great, it was something different. And Eric Rowan was very well spotlighted here. The problem I have that doesn't make it the match of the night for me is that Eric Rowan did not win here. I really believe he should have won. Because this is not 100% something that would hurt the Big Show if he lost or was somehow DQ'd. Or maybe you could have had them have some mutual respect for each other if you want to go there. But the point is, I think Eric Rowan did not deserve to lose here. It wasn't a bad match. I believe it was the second for me personally. And in the end, seeing the Big Show knock that boy out and then use the stairs to hold him down, I know that wasn't great to see, and it wasn't. But I still believe it was a good enough of a match, for me personally, that I give it my second match of the night. Now, the matches I really believe should never been on the show. Nikki Bella versus AJ should never been on the show. Anyone who loves the Nikki Bella or the Brie Bella I'm talking to you personally, dude or dudette, ladies and gentlemen who love them. Tell me below if you were outraged or not, or if you're 100% happy the way the match went down and how the build has been. Because when it comes down to it, and anyone who doesn't like to hear this, I'm sorry, but I need to say this. You have two women who are 100% face at one point, 100% heel. You have one of them become the attendant to the other one, the assistant. And then all of a sudden turn from a very strong face at one point to a very weak, garbagey heel. Because Brie's a piece of shit heel. I'm not against her, but she sucks. When you saw this match, it was bullshit. The crowd did not give a damn about it. Really. The crowd didn't care. They didn't. They hated this. They didn't even want to see this match at all. If it had been Brie versus Nikki, and Nikki had been allowed to maintain the strength with her husband, if Daniel Bryan came out periodically with her, at least once in a while came out with her, that would have kept her as a strong face. So when she finally had to face Nikki to win the championship, the Divas Championship, it would have made sense. And then even if it was a very small payout, it would be a payout. This was no payout for anybody. Yeah, the women got paid, but this was a terrible feud. It was not a great match. In the end, I didn't give a fuck. I actually walked out of the room. I didn't care about watching it. The next match, Kane versus Ryback. And I know a lot of people are going to say, damn, that was a good match. Come on, man. I'm going to say no. Because when you really look at it, Ryback, even though he's really beginning to build back up, the problem I have is that, in this respect, having Ryback against a bigger guy isn't a bad thing. But doing it with chairs really shows the weakness of Ryback because he still tanks. Ryback is not great with his cardio when it comes to the ring. He's not. And Kane is worse, particularly turning red behind the ears. That is not good. I'm wondering if Kane is sick or something. Because that boy gets bright red behind the ears when he goes and works in the ring, no matter if it's light or heavy. So when you see this match, both of them are showing great weakness with their cardio. They both don't work well in the ring anymore. Well, Ryback isn't very good in the ring with his cardio as it is. He's not a bad worker, but he doesn't do well when he's pushed too hard. Kane can't work well in the ring at all anymore. He gets too winded too easily. So when you see this match, it was terrible. Mind you, it wasn't bad at the end. It actually picked up a little bit when Ryback got hit in the face with a chair. But I'm being honest here. That was a very bad match. It was very weak for the simple fact they should have never used chairs. It would have been better if it was a standard match. Getting hit so many times with the chair shots really hurt the match. That's just me. Now, the match, I believe, really was a repeat, except for maybe one extra thing, is Rusev versus Jack Swagger. The reason I say this is that we had the same kind of match a couple of months ago when Jack was facing Rusev. Mind you, I feel Jack was a little stronger this time around because of what happened to Zed. Now, I know that people are going to say, dude, Jack's not a great character. I know he's not. But because of how Rusev has been built and everybody's gone up against has gotten their ass whooped, and that Rusev really doesn't have any real opponents right now, they had no choice but to stick these guys back together because there was some chemistry months ago. So when you see this, you would think maybe it would be better that some type of screwy ending would happen and Jack wouldn't have to job to him. It would be something special. Something different. But we didn't get that. The only difference is that Jack managed to escape the accolade the first time around. But to be honest, this was a repeat of the last time they faced one another. The first time they really finally touched and Jack passed out. That's the way it felt during the halfway through it. And then the other half of the match is when he faced him again and finally tapped. That's the way it really felt. Now the problem I see for Rusev is what's going to happen to him now. Will he continually deal with Jack until Brock Lesnar comes back? I don't know. Rusev is running out of opponents. There's no real legitimate opponents for him. If Cesaro had turned face, maybe in next year he could face him, but we don't have that. And where was Cesaro? He wasn't on the show. There was no match for him or Sheamus. I'm just saying. Now, it's time to get this one over with. John Cena versus Seth Rollins. Now, I said in the beginning of this show, seeing John Cena in the middle of the show didn't fill me with a lot of confidence. I thought there had to be some type of screwy ending, and there was. That kind of goes with what happened with Big Show. When you see this match, they gave John Cena the Super Cena treatment. We know this. There's some people who love it. A lot of people despise it. I don't like it. I hate it. But I don't despise it. So most of the show, seeing Jamie and Joey facing John Cena most of the time and then still getting their asses kicked, I wasn't interested. Not until the end of the show when we saw Big Show come out, attack John Cena, that I think they're not going to let him job. Not like this. There's got to be something going on. And then we have the return of Roman Reigns, who I will be doing a debate of the week after this. He comes down wearing a new vest, some new pants, gives the Superman punch to the Big Show and spears his ass through a table. After that, John Cena puts Seth Rollins through a table. And now we're going to have John Cena versus Brock Lesnar at Royal Rumble. Was this a good match? To me, it was not the best match of the night. It felt like the worst match of the night because, well, the second worst match of the night. Let's be honest here. I'll leave that for the last. But essentially speaking, it was the second worst match of the night. It wasn't the fact that Super Cena got the treatment. And it wasn't the fact that Roman Reigns speared the Big Show. That actually was the best part of the entire thing. It was the fact that John Cena not only was given the Superman treatment, it wasn't something dramatic and special. You got Jamie Noble and Joey Mercury. I'm sorry. These guys are small guys. I'm not surprised John Cena kicked their ass. I got a sore throat. I'm sorry. I'm not surprised. So it didn't really feel special. It felt mediocre. I'm sorry it did. Now the match of the night that I feel deserves the moniker of the worst match of the night is going to be Bray Wyatt and it's going to be Dean Ambrose. Now mind you that I'm not going against the match because the entire match was shit. No. There are two factors that make this the worst match of the night. One is the storyline. There's barely any storyline at all. What happened in Hell in a Cell made Bray Wyatt extremely weak. He came back so terrible. Then, when we went through all this, you can see how bad this was, honestly. This was a terrible, terrible situation. Survivor Series, when you see their match, was a great match, but there was no storyline at all. So when you see this at TLC, it just adds on top of that. There's no storyline. And even though these guys can talk so well, without a story, it just feels very empty. And Bray Wyatt seems weak. So when you see the opening of the match, the middle of the match, near the end of the match, it's actually very good. They did great work in the ring. But then when you come to the ending of the match, and I'm sorry, you can see the wires of the pyrotechnic when I saw the wiring hooked into the TV, I knew there might be some screwy ending. And I was hoping, please, don't let them do it, please. And then when you see Dean Ambrose get the explosions in the face, and Bray Wyatt wins that way, angers me beyond fuck. They couldn't give Bray Wyatt a clean victory to make it 1-1. Going into Royal Rumble, and maybe they would give us something special. No, they believed that Bray Wyatt was so weak, and the WWE realizes this. They realized he was so fucking weak, they had no option to use the pyrotechnic in the HD TV to let him have the win. And guess what happened when they did that? Instead of letting him have the win, when he didn't win, what happened? No one cheered. No one booed. No one gave heat. No one gave pops. It was dead silence. You know why? Because everyone was fucking angry that it ended that way. So the ending of the show was terrible. Does this mean all over? Was it a bad show? No. I mean, I'm glad to see Usos with Miz and Mizdow was the highlight of the show for me. Booker T and A-Rod, I gotta say this, I wish they would let Booker T and Alex Riley be commentators on SmackDown. If they did, I actually would watch SmackDown because I believe Booker T and Alex Riley have great chemistry. Or better yet, let them be on Raw. But general, most of the show had a few spots in it. But when it really came down to it, the show really overall was brought down by the ending. So I hope you enjoyed this TLC review. Still pissing me off. I hope you like it. Give me a thumbs up. Tell me how you feel. My debate of the week is going to be on Roman Reigns and what happens to him now. See ya!